WLPI Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. It's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard Robertson.
His legacy is terrible with regard to the NBA.
Jennifer Conroy.
Anna Kournikova, she's terrible. But how much in endorsements did she have up until Serena now?
And the magnificent Larry Robinson.
Coaching changes. I mean, Scott Skiles just broke out and said, I'm out.
It's R&R on Sports.
Hello and welcome to a little R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm Jennifer Conroy.
And I am the fantastic, the absolutely amazing, the extraterrestrial, the phenomenal, the absolutely grandiose brother from another mother that you didn't know. It's the weekend, baby! And I'm Larry Robinson. What's up, y'all?
He's a brother from another mother that we
while
don't
you're talking
know.
about mothers, you're talking about mothers there. You are a mother.
They're gonna legislate that soon.
Let me tell you. Welcome to R&R on Sports. It is our time of year. Happy holidays to everyone out there. And we hope you are enjoying yourselves, you're enjoying your lives and your children. And
I heard you
of the year,
was a
sports-wise.
Santa Claus up at the Mall of America up there.
Black Santa Claus.
You the Black Santa Claus.
Yeah, they're having problems with that brother. They're having problems with that brother doing his job. You know, the letters, they have had to shut down the website.
It wasn't you?
Huh?
It wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me.
I thought it was you.
That wasn't me.
That brother favored you, though, man.
No, that brother did not favor me. That brother has a beard. I do not. But great
It was
Santa.
fake. It was a fake.
That wasn't a fake beard. That was not a fake
there
beard.
you go.
That was not a fake beard. Which could have been part of their problem.
Two-timing on us.
I
think he's two-timing us.
It wasn't the silky, fluffy beard that
see,
the
now
little Caucasian kids are accustomed to.
If people don't like a Black Santa, I got some bad news for them about Jesus.
But listen.
Ooh, I'm on
all
fire.
kinds of great stuff going on. You guys are particularly impressed with a few people in the NBA, I understand.
Couple folks.
Man.
Ballin'.
I'm just going to say it right off the top.
Flipping water bottles and stuff.
Russell Westbrook.
monster.
Can he keep it up? All I want to know is, can he keep it up?
Why not? Why not? He's playing for him and Kevin.
Well, listen.
There's no fury like a Westbrook scorned,
He's
apparently.
playing for both of them.
And he can roller skate.
Hey.
Well, listen.
Hey.
What I said.
What's the latest on his stats?
When I thought about the whole thing, LeBron summed it up best.
Okay.
He said he goes to the free throw line 9 to 10 times a game. So therefore, he said he's already, if he hits 7, 8 of them, he's one shot away from getting the points.
Right.
The only real challenge is his rebounding, because he's going to get the assist. So in all honesty, it makes sense that he will definitely be able to keep up a triple-double.
He's messed around and gotten 11 so far. So
now, speaking of going to the line, there are two particularly prolific people in the NBA that do that extremely well, and that would be Russell Westbrook, and the other one would be James Harden.
Absolutely. I was going to say James Harden.
Has anybody looked up to see what kind of stats they have against best all time, most all time? I mean, because they go into the line an incredible number of times.
I'm telling you, but James Harden's also got 11 assists this year. He's averaging 11.6
he's actually
assists.
passing the ball. But
Yeah.
James Harden is also one of the biggest floppers ever. I mean, does he have a new recipe every time he cooks something in the pot?
So is he the new hate?
I've never liked Harden.
You've never liked Harden. You've never liked Westbrook.
I give Westbrook begrudging. That's no longer really begrudging. I give Westbrook respect. James Harden is.
Okay, what about the 60? What about the 60?
What about the 60?
Clay?
Who dropped 60?
Clay Thompson.
That dribbled 11 times?
11 times. He dribbled
Somebody's
11 times, scored
dribbles.
60 points in 29 minutes.
And had the ball all of 90 seconds.
I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, he was catching and shooting.
That is incredible.
And layups. He had the easiest 60 points in history.
Love that kind of balling.
He told Kevin Durant, hold my beer.
And we're going to be balling the rest of this show. We've got a great show.
Ballin'.
We're going to be back on the other side of you getting your laugh on. So stay with us. More R&R after this.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
Hi, this is Rika Ketchum.
This is John Hollinger, Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Tim Brown, NFL Hall of Fame inductee. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
Hello, how may I help you?
Yes, I'd like to apply for my passport.
Great. Let's start with your name, height, and weight.
That would be Colin Kaepernick, 6'4", 230.
And your nationality, sir?
American.
Okay, I'm going to need to check one of the following ethnic boxes for you. Are you white, whitish, cracker, African American, black, blackish, Negro, colored, multiracial, biracial, or other?
I'm African American.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm going to need you to step behind the line and wait just a minute, please.
Why?
It's protocol, sir. And I'm going to need you to step back behind the line.
I need Kwame Leroy Brown to report to Cubicle 5 for AA confirmation.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Kwame Leroy Brown. I'm also minister of the First Baptist Jubilation Congregation. Now, I'll be conducting your survey today. We got a couple of questions for you. Question number 1, you know what this is?
Yeah, that's an Afro pick.
Okay, I'm going to need you to demonstrate the proper placement of this utensil. Judy, bring me my ruler.
Well,
okay.
I put it in my hair.
Okay, seems to be standing up okay. Now, next question. Who went and got fired on their day off?
That would be Craig from my favorite movie, Friday.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, finish this statement. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock.
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Very good. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Next question. What do you put on your catfish? Tabasco or Louisiana?
That would be Louisiana, sir.
All right. You got any in the bag over there?
Absolutely, right here.
All right. We're going to use some of that on this catfish I got. Bonus question. What kind of shoes are these?
Woohoo! I haven't seen those since my great uncle was at the family reunion. Those are Stacey Adams knob toe with the white stitching.
All right. Congratulations. Perfect score.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Kaepernick. You will be getting your proof of passport in 7 to 10 business days.
Okay.
And one last thing. We're going to need you to rise for the playing of the National Anthem.
Oh, man.
This is Scoop Jackson, ESPN. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
It's going down for real.
Hey, hope you got your laugh on. We are back with much to talk about. We did not, and I know, okay, so Larry, you want to talk about golf. The only time you want to talk about golf is when Tigers
I said, if we go back a few months, you were the one saying that Tiger's done. He'll never win again.
No. I did not say that.
Oh, now
I
you
said
are
he
telling.
is not the Tiger that we have known. He won't win at the level. He won't win at the level.
No, you said he will never win again.
I did not say that.
Oh my God.
Go to the tape.
Okay, listen.
We're
gonna go to the tape and we're gonna pull that one out.
Okay, so what are you bragging about?
Because he's back. He's back and he's playing at a high level.
He is not.
He's playing at a high level.
Tiger is sad because he don't have any.
Okay, Jennifer, here's what it was. He was 15th out of 18.
Yes.
So he's back?
He's not back.
Listen, Tiger looked good.
It took Tiger getting his tooth knocked out to give him any more credit.
I'm happy for him. Okay. I am happy for him. Golf is better.
Okay,
the world is better when Tiger is playing.
Absolutely.
Particularly sport of golf, and I care very deeply about golf.
Okay. All right, so moving on. What's next?
The Heisman.
Okay, who you got? Who you got?
Okay, first of all, few people know beyond Lamar Jackson who's competing for the Heisman. Let me
enlighten our
Baker
listeners.
Mayfield with
who the hell is that?
With Michigan. Deshaun Watson with Clemson and D.D. Westbrook obviously Russell's little brother with Oklahoma.
He could be. Have you seen Westbrook's little brother?
D.D. Westbrook. No, I'm kidding. It's not. It's not.
Now
Russell's
Baker Mayfield is from where?
Baker Mayfield is Michigan.
Oklahoma.
Is
I thought he was Oklahoma.
No, D.D. Westbrook is Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. All right.
Deshaun Watson, Clemson. So, you think it's a lock for Lamar?
Yeah. I think because there's no real number 2. I don't think there's real number 2. Lamar Jackson played terrible his last 3 games. I mean, he's played absolutely terrible. And in fact, his play has actually cost Louisville the game, especially the last game. I mean, he fumbled like 3-4 times. And but that does not take away from the fact that he is the most exciting.
He is the most exciting player. But let me tell you something about. I hope he wins the Heisman. First of all, I hope he wins the Heisman.
Plus, he's young.
I think it's and he's young, and I think it's well deserved. But futuristically, his game does not no, that's a real word. His game does not translate or will not transfer to the NFL.
Not the way they playing him, and
not
Petrino's
the way he's playing.
No, the way Petrino's playing him. I mean, Petrino got this dude acting like he's a running back.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that kid is going to get broke up.
That's his first option. He'll fade back. I mean, he will in the pocket. He'll stay there for a hot second. And then he will take off like a running back.
Have you noticed that Louisville's line has gotten
NFL?
Have you noticed that Louisville's line has gotten progressively worse?
That's what I just
because
said.
early on they were doing a lot more passing, and he was really in the pocket.
He had better coverage too.
He had great coverage initially.
Yeah.
He had all the time to do what he needed to do, but not now.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Teams have made adjustments.
So anyway, those are the Heisman, and that's going to be this weekend, and we'll find out what's happening with that. Meanwhile, still in the NCAA, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State University, and Washington.
Ohio State.
I think this is a travesty. I really do. I think this whole concept of college football playoffs is an absolute travesty. This is akin to at the beginning of March Madness, you saying, okay, here's the final 4 teams. It's a group of people in a room that says, okay, this is your final 4 teams. No. What makes up March Madness is the upsets, the opportunity that gives you that one shining moment, so on and so forth. If that was the case, we'd perennially be saddled with looking at a Final Four that consists of Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, and Duke.
Yep.
That would be your Final Four.
Yep.
We wouldn't have gotten a Villanova. We wouldn't have gotten a Wichita State. We wouldn't have gotten a lot of these teams, UConn even a few years ago.
Right.
We would not have gotten those teams, those games, those beautiful games without them playing on the field. And what we're being cheated from some moments in college football.
And there are a lot of athletes being cheated too that have performed extremely well and get no recognition.
Right. So you tell me that a team that wins the conference playoffs in between what was it, Penn State and Wisconsin, they're not in there above Michigan, above Ohio State, when Penn State beat Ohio State.
How much scandal do you think plays into the Penn State thing? Or if any at all?
I don't know, but I just think it's really unfair to those kids.
As motivation, I think that it played well into, because they were pariahs.
Absolutely.
They were absolutely NCAA football pariahs. And
Franklin's come in and really changed things around rather quickly.
Yeah.
They have their self-esteem is great. They believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Their energy is, and they're playing really, really good football. But I think what's happening now validates really and confirms what the arguments were early on, that it should be basically 8 teams.
It's got to be at least 8 teams, and maybe even as many as 16. I mean, because once again, if you put 8 to 16 teams out there, I mean, you could do 12 and even have the high-ranking ones have a bye for the first game. So, I mean, even if you did something like that, that would elicit more belief that this is a true solution and a true playoff. This that we have today is not a playoff.
Not just a D-League showcase for the NFL. That was mean. I'm sorry, y'all.
It was. NFL. Speaking of the NFL, let's talk a little bit about
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? How about them Raiders?
Man, my Raiders are looking good.
Balling.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Who's your most valuable player in the NFL right now, today? right now?
Dak Prescott.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't think Derek Carr?
No.
Dak Prescott.
Why wouldn't you say Derek Carr? Is it because we don't get to see the Raiders as much as we get to see Dallas?
Could be.
Because Derek Carr is balling.
He is balling.
Derek Carr is balling with
but
less.
situationally,
Yeah, and they've had the move
With
too.
less.
So
Now, with
that's
less
true.
now.
There are less pieces on the Raiders. There's been the move, and the whole culture has kind of had to shift into LA out of St. Louis.
yeah, but Dak's story is like Rocky.
Yeah.
Dak's story is like Rocky. I mean, you come out of come out of nowhere, very lowly regarded in terms of that. You end up on America's team, and you end up having the opportunity to take the place of, one of the most
talked about,
lauded quarterbacks in the NFL.
True.
Whether you like him or not. I mean, that. So what he has done with that team and the chemistry, I think, chemistry is not a given on a team like Dallas.
Yeah, that's the part that I think goes unmentioned,
Especially with
is
the
the chemistry.
Romo upset.
With the chemistry with him and Des Bryant and Zeke Elliott. But, no one's really talking about Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott is a big part of that.
I think he gets Rookie of the Year, too.
You think? Well, he may get Offensive Player of the Year, that's for sure. But I still say that, to not have a Zeke Elliott will put a different kind of pressure on Dak Prescott. And different kind of pressure, Dak Prescott?
I think you said Zach.
Okay, well, Dak Prescott. So
Prescott.
So anyway, and his little brother. So that I think that would put a different level of pressure on Dak Prescott, and therefore a different level of pressure on the team. But with Zeke, when you can hit those play action passes, man, I think it adds it really puts a lot of pressure on the DBs. And when you got a player like Des Bryant, I think he's a beast anyway. I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for the team.
I think he is a great second generation to Emmett, to Tony Dorsett, to all of the great running backs that have. I mean, he is a fabulous running back.
He should go down as one of the great Dallas running backs.
And while we're talking about Dallas
Day on R&R.
That's right. This is Dallas Day. We've got with us on our conversation a Dallas Cowboy legend in Ed Too Tall, Hall of Famer Ed Too Tall Jones.
Throwback. Can you say throwback?
Total throwback. You'll find out how he got the name, the nickname Too Tall. Stay with us. Ed Too Tall Jones, our conversation on the other side of this.
I bet you can't name his favorite sport.
Boxing.
It's going down for real.
And we're back with our Eye Conversation segment, and today is no different than the rest. We have an icon, a Super Bowl champion, a 3-time All-Pro and Pro Bowler, in the person of Ed Too Tall Jones, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. Ed, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you.
Glad to have you,
really
man. You were in the era that I loved the Cowboys. What was that like? I mean, well, I'm gonna let you start, Howard.
Please do.
No, go ahead.
Thanks.
Go
That's
ahead.
mighty nice of
age
you.
Before beauty.
That's mighty nice of you. No, I want you to get started. But a few weeks ago we had Coach Tubby Smith on, and we talked first about how he got the nickname Tubby. Now, let's start with, and doing so you can do part of your background, but let's start with who deemed you Too Tall, and how'd you come to get that name?
Well, let me first of all try and make a long story short.
Go ahead.
I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee on a farm, and the first high school I attended, we didn't have football, so I played both basketball and baseball and ran track.
Okay.
And my senior year, I transferred to the city and to see if I would enjoy playing football.
Okay.
And the problem I ran into was the football coach was also the baseball and basketball coach. So he put me on the team, but I saw very little action.
Okay.
And my father passed that year. And I decided I was going to University of Arizona, who had a great baseball program and a decent basketball program, and I was going to play both sports, and after a couple of years, decide between the two.
What position in baseball did you play?
I played first base.
Okay.
And I could also play any position in the outfield. I only weighed 211 pounds at the time.
Okay.
And I was 6'7" and had a rifle arm.
Yes,
they tried
sir.
to make me a
So you were Bo before Bo was Bo.
So not only were you too tall, but you was too skinny too.
There you go. There you go. But my father passed my senior year, and my brother-in-law said, you should go to Tennessee State where you can check on your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, he was my mentor at the time, so I said, okay, I'm going to Tennessee State. And he said, you're a football player. You should try for football. I said, well, I didn't even know the rules of football.
Wow.
So my brother gave me a crash course along with my brother-in-law, and so I went to Tennessee State on what they call a split scholarship. I could play baseball and football, baseball, basketball, and football.
Okay.
So I decided I was going to try football and basketball first. And the first day of practice, walked into the equipment room, and the equipment manager gave me the longest pair of pants he had, and they hit me above my knees.
Oh.
In case you don't know football, they're supposed to hit you below your knees.
Yes.
So he said, wear these, stay out of contact drills today, and we'll have your pair made. So I walked on the field, and a gentleman by the name of Freddie Herring, who had a brief stint with the Cincinnati Bengals, looked at me and did a double take and said, you know, you're too tall for football. And everybody loved it. So.
Oh, wow. So it stuck.
Yes, it did.
Too tall for football.
Your senior year is when you had your first boxing fight, too, correct?
No, I fought in Golden Gloves when I was in high school.
Okay.
I fought Golden Gloves, never lost a fight. My father was a fight fan.
Okay.
And my father loved NASCAR and boxing.
Oh, really?
NASCAR.
Your dad was watching NASCAR back in the day.
Back in the day. And
Ooh,
so I
he
was
might have
a
been the only
typical son that wanted to be like his dad. So I love speed, I love fast cars, and I love boxing. And so I went down to the gym when I was in high school, and just the trainer kind of took me under his wings, taught me how to wrap my hands and hit the heavy bag and speed bag, and I fell in love with it. And to this day, boxing is still my favorite sport.
Now, last week we had a guy named Don Lassere, who is over the Muhammad Ali Center. As a young guy coming up in the 60s and a boxer, talk about a little bit about what effect, impact Muhammad Ali had on you.
Well, it all started with Sonny Liston.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You a Sonny Liston fan?
I like him more and more.
Because he was my dad's favorite. And I remember sitting on my dad's lap when fights weren't televised, listening to the Ali Sonny Liston fight.
Okay.
So your dad was an Ali hater? Was your dad?
Well, at the time,
he was Cash's
when he first came out, everybody hated him.
Yeah. Right.
Because they weren't used to a person that could talk a game like he could.
That's right.
And they just everybody wanted to pay to either see him win or pay to see him lose. And but after he beat Sonny Liston, he kind of converted me. I became actually at the time a Cassius Clay fan. But I admired everything about him, and lots of respect for him. And I will say this, I'm so glad I had the opportunity to get to know Ali before he had his condition.
Did you?
And to visit with him a lot. Ken Norton was who I was closest to.
Okay.
Ken Norton was kind of my mentor.
Okay.
Who told me when I decided to give up football for boxing, he helped me pick out my trainer and had me fly out to L.A. and watch him train when he was getting ready to fight Ernest Shavers to see what it's really like. But Ali was instrumental too in my career, but he definitely was the greatest. And again, I'm so glad I got to know him.
So, are you a southpaw?
No, right-handed.
Gotcha.
I had a very good jab.
A good jab.
Good jab that Larry Holmes taught me.
A very long
that is a powerful jab.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with the great Too Tall Jones, Dallas Cowboy Great, Hall of Famer great, Too Tall Jones.
There you go. Talk about some about your time with the Cowboys, and you, as a matter of fact, I think I read somewhere that you were either the highest or one of the first HBCU draftees.
He was the highest.
The highest
of that time to go one.
HBCU draftees. Is that right?
That's right. And that's why I to this day I support HBCU schools. Had it not been for Tennessee State, there would have been no Ed Too Tall Jones with the Dallas Cowboys.
All right.
Because I was a raw talent when I got to Tennessee State, and had I gone to a Division I school, I would have been another number. They wouldn't have had the time to devote to me like Coach Gilliam and John Muir did at Tennessee State. Coach Gilliam took me under his wings, and he made me. I was the first player on the field, last one to leave.
All right.
He would keep some of his best players out there to work with me. And to make a long story short, I went on to become the first defensive lineman in the history of the NFL to be drafted number 1 overall.
There you go.
And
there you go.
Amazing.
That position doing that area belonged to running backs, quarterbacks. But
right.
Dallas traded with Houston Oilers the year before, and they traded Toby Smith, Bubba Smith's brother, and a receiver named Billy Parks for Houston's pick.
Number 1 pick.
And Houston finished last, and Dallas took me. And I tell you what, growing up as a kid, even though I didn't understand football, only teams we got to see was the Cowboys in St. Louis, which is now the Arizona Cardinals, and Dallas was winning. So I was a fan as a kid of the Dallas Cowboys, and to play for them, and Tom Landry with the hat, and the Bullet Bob Hayes, and Calvin Hill, all the greats, Roger Staubach. It was a dream come true.
But it's a testament to the coaches that they were able to take somebody like you that wasn't really familiar about football and train, and we hear so much through the years about Bear Bryant, but too little about a coach like Big John Merritt and Eddie Robinson and whatnot. So it's a testament to the coaching and Coach Gilliam, the coaching that you got at TSU.
Most definitely. And I will say this: all the scouts in the NFL knew about Tennessee State and Grambling, Florida, and those schools. The Coach Landry would always give his draft picks a one-on-one talk when you first got there. And one of the things one of the people he complimented was Joe Gilliam. He said, "Ed, I've watched a lot of film on college players." He said, "Your technique's some of the best I've ever seen," is what he said. And I give credit to Coach Gilliam for that. I was ready for the pros when I got to the Dallas Cowboys. They didn't have to teach me a lot other than the system.
Was there culture shock going from an HBCU into the Cowboys culture?
No, because I went in with a lot of confidence. I only lost 2 games during my career at Tennessee State. I was on 2 undefeated teams.
What made you
Tennessee State?
What made you put down the football and pick up the gloves?
Again, it's always been number 1 with me, and even had it been baseball, basketball, or football, it wouldn't have mattered. When I came out of college, even though I was drafted number 1 overall, in my first 5 years with Dallas, I was in 3 Super Bowls, which is unheard of.
Wow.
I knew there was still something missing in my life.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back with the rest of that, but we got to take a break right here. Stay with us. More from Ed Too Tall Jones on R&R on Sports after this.
It's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard, Jennifer Conroy, and Larry Robinson.
This mic wasn't so expensive, I'd throw this sucker down.
You dropped the
and
mic
walk off.
like Amy Wambach.
And walk off. But you get upset
Abby,
with that.
you just totally Magic Johnsoned it. You said Amy. Her name is Abby.
Okay, well, look like Amy.
Hello, I'm Uncle Howard.
Jennifer Conroy.
I'm Larry, the fantastic Robinson.
Your host for R&R on Sports.
You better get with us or I'm going to come looking for you.
every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on the SportsByline.com network, plus R&R on Sports.com, Kazukian.com, iHeartRadio.com. Get our podcast, get after us. We look forward to having you.
R&R on Sports, part of the Kazukian Network.
Hello, everybody. This is Tim Brown, 2015 NFL Hall of Fame inductee, and you are listening to R&R on Sports.
Snap your fingers, but do you still? You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it.
And we're back on Our Conversation, and we have Ed Too Tall Jones, Super Bowl champion from the Dallas Cowboys, with us on R&R on Sports. We were talking about you in the NFL. Talk to us a little bit about the changes you see and how you see and watch football today as a retired NFL player and whatnot. What kind of differences you see? What kind of things you like? What might you not like? And talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I'm still a big fan. Will always be. But the thing that I don't like, I'm glad I didn't have to experience, is player movement.
Okay.
With free agency.
Okay.
I wish they had a system where you could at least keep 10 players at any price on each side of the ball, both offense and defense, because both teams are built around a maximum of 10 players on each side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when I was playing, we didn't have free agency, and we got to know each other. We bonded. And that's very important with putting a good product out on the field, guys who know each other. And you don't see players staying with one team anymore. You know, the minute they play their contracts up, they just go on with the most money. And I think eventually it's going to show on the field, on the playing field. You won't see that same quality of football that you saw years ago. So if I could change one thing, it would be teams could keep their key players.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's still a great game. I'm sorry?
You had rivalries back in the day. You had true hardcore rivalries where teams really wanted to beat each other, and the fans were dedicated.
That's right. And our biggest rivalry when I was playing was the Washington Redskins.
Yes.
We played every Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, sir.
And I think those games took football to another level. Whether you were a Cowboy fan or Redskin fan or not, you watched that game, and it was always a great game. But that's missing now because you have your fans now. They cheering for you one Sunday, and you trade, and they booing you the next Sunday.
Very true. Very
now,
true.
you were with the Cowboys when I think, in my opinion, they absolutely became, quote unquote, America's team. Would you agree?
I totally agree with you. And we had, we had some of the best scouts in the business. Tom Landry, I rank him as one of the best coaches to ever coach in the NFL. And again, we bonded because we had long. Coach Landry, one of the things he told us, he said, if you conduct yourself properly off the field, study hard, and give me 110% come Sunday, you have a long career here. And those scouts knew what type players that could fit Tom Landry's system, and that's who they drafted. So we had a great thing going there, and again, I think it would still be that way with not only the Dallas Cowboys, but other teams as well, if there was some way players could play together longer.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Ed Lee Too Tall Jones. Hey, Too Tall, my question is this. When you think about where football has gone, you got the issues around CTE with head trauma and concussions. What's your thoughts on that, and what's your feelings about the future of football as we've known it in the past?
It's scary. And I said it because, I saw the movie Concussion, and it really hit home with me. And I sat there afterwards and said, how on earth did I play 15 years, never missed a game? And I have several teammates, Tony Dorsett, Mayor Renfro, Rayfield Wright, Chuck Howley, guys like that have early stages of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And I played before some of these guys, and so it's scary, to see that. And what I hope, and I'm sure the league is working at that, is, I put the pressure on manufacturers who make the equipment. We can put a man on the moon. Are you telling me we can't protect football players better on game days? So the only way it's going to change is going to be with the equipment, because it's a contact sport. Nowhere around that. And in order for spectators to continue to support and buy the sport, you're going to have to, keep it, pretty much like it is as far as rules are concerned with the contact, etc. Otherwise, people are not going to buy it. So the only way you can change it is through equipment.
Is the NFL Players Association keeping up with guys from your era to see how you're doing? Do they check in? Are there healthcare programs that they're guiding you towards to make sure that you guys are healthy?
This wasn't happening years ago, but I would say that the past 8 years, it's gotten a lot better. Mm-hmm. They have programs for you. They have testing for you. I'm a part of a study. Even though I didn't have a concussion, I've taken that test, but they're still just. I've been part of a study of a group out of Philly for the past 8 years. They just want to see how football players, once they retire, how long does it take before they start experiencing different problems. And so I'm glad to be a part of that study, and along with a lot of other guys. But they have a lot of. They're making an effort to take care of the guys who have these issues, to try and do things that will prolong their life and their quality of life. So I'm so glad that they're doing that. And I just recently read where the league have donated $100 million just on research alone.
So they're taking the steps in the right direction. Did you just say career long, you never had a concussion?
That blew me away.
No, but when you think about it, most of the guys with concussions, these guys running those 4.4 and 4.5 40s, playing running back positions where they're sitting ducks, they don't see it coming, and guys like Junior Seau, Dave Durson, those safeties who get a running start, and when they hit it's like two rams. Well, your body wasn't made for that.
No. And then did you see the hits on Cam Newton where he took 4 helmet-to-helmet hits on opening night?
I saw the hits on Cam Newton, and if I'm Cam Newton, I'd be very concerned, because some of those hits, guys would have him by his legs, and he was trying to get away, and then a hit would come that he didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I've met Cam several times, and I had a long talk with Cam last year, and I told Cam, I said, Cam, you're going to have to learn when to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And when to stop trying to get extra yardage, because you, number one, for your own safety, and number two, you're too valuable for your team.
Right.
And that's something he took a lot of heat for during the Super Bowl last year. Was, do you go down? Do you not go down? How do you go down?
Well, my suggestion be when you do your reads, when you do your 1, 2, 3 reads and it's not there, you go down and you go down fast. And I'm sure if you ask Tony Romo, the quarterback here in Dallas, that same question, he would totally agree with you. So you just have to be smart at that position.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with the great Too Tall Jones, Dallas Cowboy Great, Too Tall Jones. Ed, when you think of, you got today's quarterback, and you mentioned one of those that has gotten a lot of attention. One of the others happens to be a backup quarterback out here in San Francisco, and he's gotten a lot of attention for things that he's doing off the field. What's your take on Colin Kaepernick and the protests and how people have responded to his protests?
Well, first of all, not only Colin, others who have protested in their own way, they have every right to do so. And, athletes have been asked to do this for years. I remember being at player meetings when Jim Brown was very outspoken about athletes, not only in football, but other sports as well, not stepping up to the plate and getting involved more, getting more involved in the communities because you have a platform. And I'm all for anybody who want to use that platform in a peaceful, positive way. And I think that's what he's doing. And when you look around, you hear a few owners saying that they're glad that their team's not doing that, but most of the owners in the league support players speaking out and protesting in a positive, peaceful way. And that's really that was very encouraging to me to hear owners who supported what Kaepernick was doing. And that's the only way you're going to make a difference. You know, when somebody have to do it, and he's doing it. I don't know him well. I've met him a few times, but I've talked to several guys since this happened who know him well, and they said, hey, you know, this is coming from the heart, and when he's done playing football, you're going to hear a lot about him as far as being a leader in the communities.
We've seen athletes that are not on the professional level starting to take a knee and join Colin Kaepernick in the protest. Having gone to an HBCU school, do you think it changes at that level too? Do you think we're going to see players at HBCU schools taking a knee?
Yes, because he's bringing about awareness. You know, you got all these players now who are looking at the negative hits that he's taking. They're looking at people who support him in a positive way. And what these athletes are doing is, you know, when they look in the mirror, what they saying to themselves is, what is it I can do? What can I do to make a difference? And I think that's at all levels, whether it be a Division I, II, independent school, whatever level it is. I think all athletes want to make a difference. All athletes feel that they have been blessed to be in the position they're in, and they want to make a difference in changing others' life. So I think you're going to see a lot of it.
Ed, we are of the same ilk in terms of age. Do you recall back when you first went to the NFL? Were there players that did not stand during the national anthem back then?
No, Kaepernick is the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
But you know, you had guys that would protest things in their own little way, but most of the time, it started with our community leaders, guys out in the community who would contact the players to support their causes.
Okay.
We used to go to different rallies in Dallas, for example, when issues would come up that we supported. So, but it's usually a community leader who we followed. But so what Kaepernick is doing is different. And other than, you know, you take John Carlos, those guys.
That's right.
With the glove and the fist, doing the Olympics. And Jim Brown, he has always been outspoken, and like I said, it's just that the more you have getting involved, the more powerful it is. And like Jim Brown, if you sit down with him one-on-one, he'll tell you he didn't have a prayer back when he first started, you know, bringing up these different issues that needed change because there weren't enough individuals backing him.
We've had him on the show, and he said the same, that very thing.
Absolutely. Too Tall, we got one last question. Now, you got to go back in time, and this is your last game. It's your last game. They're about to honor you. You're coming out to the middle of the star. You know, every hero has theme music. What would that theme music be if you could do it all over again when you walk out in the middle of that field?
I would say that theme music would be my Tennessee State fight song.
There you go.
I love it.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. The things I cherish most about playing football at Tennessee State was on that bus. And see, we didn't fly anywhere. We took the bus.
Yeah.
But when we got close to that stadium, and we crank up that fight song, I tell you, you know, I get goosebumps now when I think about that and how hard all of us fought and came together to achieve all that we achieved at Tennessee State.
That's a beautiful thing.
Ultimate team sport.
That's a beautiful thing. Ed Too Tall Jones, we want to thank you for being with us on R&R on Sports. And as is our practice, we always ask that you consider to come back and be with us again at some point in the future. Would you do that?
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again.
Awesome.
Thanks for being on R&R. And we'll be back with more R&R on Sports right after this. Welcome back, and it is our time.
We back.
To start backing out toward the door and saying goodbye.
Ciao, baby.
So,
Shalom.
y'all know the
I'll holler at
you know the
ya.
routine. You know the drill.
See ya.
Wow.
They start
Wouldn't
trying
wanna
to
be
impress
ya.
me with all the
You would
many
totally
ways
wanna be
they
me.
can say goodbye in various.
So what you trying to say? I'd want to be you. I ain't trying to be no woman. What you talking about?
Woman.
No woman?
All right.
That's true.
So what's wrong with being a woman?
I think maybe I want to be
you know,
y'all.
Oh, explain that.
I
So
don't
the
want- I don't want my
the problem
meow
with being
grab.
Should have known it was going to deteriorate. JC, what you got, Dom?
Favorite. You know, I'm going to give a shout out locally today to a player.
They don't know where we are. Where are we?
We are in Memphis, Tennessee. Hello, information.
Memphis.
Give me
Memphis.
Tennessee. To one of the state champions, a football state champions that goes to Tresvant High School. His name is Tristan Jackson.
Tell him what happened.
And he, I believe, is a receiver for Tresvant. And there was a tackle that occurred, and he ended up with an opposing player on top of him who was unconscious. And this young man had the presence of mind not to let anyone remove this player from on top of him, but also to stay still. And he didn't get up himself until medical attention came to see about this kid because he didn't
Pretty
want...
heady young man.
Yeah,
right.
he wanted
That's
to
right.
make sure that this player was not injured further than he already was.
We
And
salute you, Christian. We salute you.
Tristan, we salute you. That is beautiful sportsmanship and really just a stand-up young man.
I would like to recognize the band of brothers that are otherwise known as the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know across the country, but Zach Randolph lost his mother. And in his first game back against the New Orleans Pelicans, there was a rebound.
The 76ers.
Excuse me,
It
the
was the
76ers. There was a rebound, and what
play of the
could have
game.
been a fight
Came
broke
real
out,
close.
and he was embraced by these guys. Really love each other.
They do.
and they're doing more than just working together.
He got hugged up by Gasol and JaMychal Green and our rookie Andrew Harrison.
It was very warm. It was very warm. So you get a chance, go look for it. Listen, it's been real. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy everything that's happening during this season, and be safe and be well.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next week, same place. Say goodbye, Larry.
Sayonara.
We out.
R&R on Sports is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Web designer Daniel Coates, executive producer Larry Robinson, written by Howard Robertson, and produced by Reggie Fine. R&R on Sports, part of the Kutsukian Network.